Hello, happiness abounder, and welcome back. Today I have a little bit of a different type of episode, and I just really feel like I just need to chat with you. I need to talk with you about some of the things that I struggle with daily when it comes to my happiness and the things that I do to try and work through it and try to help me through it. And there may be something actionable today. It might just be me talking to you like a friend, but hopefully you like this new episode format. It's new for me, so bear with me. But yeah, I just wanted to chat and say, there's a lot of things happening in the world right now. And there's a lot of things happening for me personally where I feel like there's this major growth coming and I feel like I'm happy, absolutely. But I still struggle with anger sometimes. I still struggle with feeling entitled sometimes. Like, I've worked so hard, why aren't things paying off for me? And I really have to pull myself back occasionally and be like, whoa. Like, is this who you want to be? Is this the happy person that you want, right? And not just that I want in my life as me, but that I want to be, that I want to embody, that I want to embrace. And sometimes, most of the time, it feels like I'm constantly asking myself that. Is that true that it's constant? No, but sometimes it feels like it can be, where I'm like, is this how I want to behave? And sometimes it feels easier just to be like, yeah, this is how I want to behave. I do want to be angry. I do want to just sit in it and wallow for a minute. And I do want to feel like I'm entitled to something. I do want to feel like I'm the victim. And it's so funny because I've been feeling angry about some things and been wanting to have control. And control and anger go hand in hand. And specifically for me in my life, they always have, right? Because if I am upset about something, anger for me was a form and a way to control it. And letting go of that control and stepping into happiness was a huge milestone for me in my life. But I do come up against it still, where if a situation feels out of my control, I'll try to control it for me by getting angry, being frustrated at the situation, feeling like, why isn't this working out? And then what happens is I tend to go into this slump of being angry and then feeling bad for getting angry and then feeling like maybe this isn't something I'm supposed to be doing, or maybe I'm just not cut out for this, and the negative self-talk all comes in. And I have days where I just feel like I have to shut down because it's overwhelming, the anger, the attempt to control the negative emotions. And that's human. And I feel like maybe that's the message for today, is that you can be happy, you can be a happiness mentor, you can have a happiness company, and still not be happy 100% of the time. But I will say this, on those days when I want to shut down, sometimes I do, but most of the time I lean into the tools and techniques that I share here on this podcast and these episodes, the techniques I share over in the Happiness Abounders Facebook group. I live the things that I teach, and I get it. I know how hard it is sometimes to choose happiness over anger, or happiness over overwhelm and frustration, happiness over resentment, happiness over entitlement, over victimhood. This idea of control, right? So I've been thinking about it a lot lately, and how can I let go of control while still being in control, and trying to balance all of these things and control my emotions and control, and not the positive emotions, those can be fine, but control the negative emotions, and how can I work through those? And this idea of control has continued to come up for me. And a lot of it has been on this controlling this entitlement that I'm like, I've worked so hard, I've changed my life, I should be further, I should be this, and I keep on falling into the shoulds. And when that happens, I lean back on the stuff that I know works, that brings me back into center, back into this space of choosing who I want to be. But if you've listened to any of these episodes and you've tried something and it's worked, and then you haven't gone back to it, I want to encourage you to go back to it. And if you've listened to these episodes and you think I have it all together, oh boy, are you wrong. I don't have it all together, but I do have the tools and techniques to help me get it together again and again and again. And that entitlement that I tend to get, and that victimhood of like, I want to let go of control. But if I let go of the control and can be my happiest self, which is my next big hurdle, right? Letting go of that control, then I can't blame outside circumstances. Because the thing about control is when I say that I can let go of control, then the responsibility is on me. But if I think I'm in control, then the stuff that feels outside of my control, I can blame as well. And so this idea and this concept of letting go of control and allowing yourself to feel how you feel, and then using the techniques and exercises, is something that I continually work through, something that I struggle with. But again, the techniques, the exercises, the mindset shifts, the beliefs, all the things I talk about here on the show, I live, and they always bring me back, always bring me back. But today, for some reason, I just feel the need to tell you, I'm a human being just like you. Sometimes I struggle for happiness just like you. And sometimes I use the tools and I can come back out on the other side. And that's such a beautiful thing, because I have to tell you, I lived in a time, I had this time in my life where it was anger and overwhelm, and it felt hopeless. Hopeless and at war. And I know you are feeling that way, or you have felt that way in the past too. At war, constantly feeling like you should be owning something, you should be controlling something, you should be doing better, you should be not getting angry, you shouldn't feel overwhelmed. There's a lot of shoulds that come into that space. And it feels like you're constantly at war and you're not winning, and it feels hopeless. So today, and any other days where I feel like I have to kind of act for my happiness, and I mean act in terms of like take action instead of just hoping that it happens, that's when I'm so grateful that I'm not in that space of war, but instead I'm in a space of peace and clarity where I can come in, take the actions I need to, and work through those negative emotions. But I still struggle. I still have moments. I still have times. But those times are fewer and far between. I like to look at it like it's a spectrum, right? Or a pendulum even, where there's a side of the pendulum that's positive life, positive emotions. And there's a side of the pendulum that's negative life, negative emotions. And for so many of us, myself included back in the day, we live in the negative side with an occasional blip to the happy, positive side, and then we come right back to the negative. And through the work that I've done, even though I still struggle, it's switched. I'm on the positive side with a very occasional blip to the negative side. And when that blip happens, I use the techniques, I use the exercises, I do the belief breakthroughs, the mindset shifts, the letters, the journaling, anything. I have so many tools in my toolbox I can pull from and figure out what's going to work for that blip moment. And then I can come back to the other side, the positive side of things. So, if you have been struggling, like I've been struggling, I want to encourage you to utilize the tools and techniques. And I think, there's enough episodes here, 535. There's enough episodes that you could just scroll through and pick one at random. And I would pretty much bet that there will be an action in there that in that episode that you can take, and that it will help you get to where you need to be and come back to the positive side of the pendulum. So that's the episode for today. Like I said, a little different, a little unconventional from my normal, like here's some exercises, here's probably what you're thinking, here's how we move through it, let's get happy, you're capable. I do want to remind you that you are capable of happiness abound. But it's not a perfect science, and it's not going to be flawless 100% of the time. And even I, as a happiness mentor, and I've helped thousands of people be happier in their lives, even I still have to go back to the basics, go back to the exercises, and take the actions, make the movement to shift back to that positive side of the pendulum. So I'm going to end with that today. I hope that you have a wonderful day. I hope that if you are struggling, you can find an episode in the library of episodes that can help you. And above everything else, I hope that you remember and that you know you are capable of happiness abound.